Look, he's not one of us. He says he'll fight for working people. Okay.
While the world is just chock full of negative news stories right now, there is one story that continues to bring me joy. And that is the ongoing Senate race for Pennsylvania between Democrat John Fetterman and Republican Dr. Oz. And there is now a new ad out from John Fetterman that is so good that I have to share it with you, where he actually nicknames Dr. Oz. This is the first time he is using this nickname. And I'll get to more on my commentary later, but Fetterman's race so far, his campaigning, has just been perfect. And later on in this video, I will get to a clip that I uncovered while researching this story from a few years ago involving Dr. Oz. That's all I'm going to say. I'll get to it, but it may help to, I don't know, expose a little bit of Dr. Oz's bullshit. But before I get there, here is this fantastic campaign ad. Fetterman just shared this on his Twitter page, where he also nicknames Dr. Oz.
This is John Fetterman. It's a fundamental choice that we have here. I only got involved in politics to make my town, then Pennsylvania, a better, safer place. He just moved here to run for office.
Dr. Oz moved in with his mother-in-law to qualify for the race.
Do you want someone that's all about North Jersey? Look, he's not one of us. He says he'll fight for working people. Okay. Hey, Doc Hollywood, save your money. Pennsylvania is not for sale. I'm John Fetterman, and I approve this message.
I cannot overstate how fantastic this campaign ad is. It gets to the heart of how a lot of people feel about politicians, how they are out of touch, how they are the elite. Here you have Fetterman nicknaming Dr. Oz, Doc Hollywood, a perfect nickname that both, touches a chord for the conservative base, because they claim to hate Hollywood, even though they, vote for people like Donald Trump and Dr. Oz. But it touches on that while also showcasing that Dr. Oz is a member of the elite. I mean, showing how much he's worth there, showing him, on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, mentioning how, do you want somebody who is all about North Jersey because he's from out of state? The fact that he moved in with his mother-in-law so that he could qualify to run for Senate in Pennsylvania. All of this is just amazing. A perfect campaign ad. And again, it also helps to, have Fetterman here just be himself. Like, this is somebody who does not look like your typical politician, which that in itself, I think, helps him. But also what helps him is the fact that his platform actually stands up for the working class. And I'll get to more on that in a second here. And I'll also get to, don't worry, that other clip is coming up of the thing I dug up involving Dr. Oz. But quickly here, Fetterman's online presence, his campaigning, just has been so fantastic. Here's another example of a video he put out. Quote, "Hey, People Magazine, welcome to my crib." This is Dr. Oz, literally. This is Dr. Oz in this video saying this. So this video, he goes on to tweet here, "As a general rule of thumb, celebrity TV doctors with over $100 million in assets plus several properties not in Pennsylvania don't usually fight for working people." Great point. In this video, I'm not going to play it, but you can kind of get an idea. Here he is showing his mansion, and then this video goes on to discuss his many other mansions. One in Florida. Then he has like properties in Maine, Turkey, Ireland, New York City, 2 in New York City. So there you go. Another example, again, showing how Dr. Oz is a member of the elite, something that a lot of voters are, turned off by, especially now. They are tired of these typical politicians, and especially people who are just generally not of their class. So Fetterman, this article here, could Fetterman shitpost his way to the Senate? He quote tweets this saying, "I mean, we sure are trying." So there are many examples of how Fetterman is using social media in a way that no other candidate, especially Democratic candidate, does. And it's something that other Democrats, especially progressive Democrats, need to look to. This is how you run a campaign. So he just openly memes. I mean, look, of course there are limitations to memeing. You can't have your entire campaign be based on memeing. But the fact that he has this, in addition to an actual solid platform, an actual record of fighting for people, it's the whole package here. So he quote tweeted an Axios story saying, "In a general election pivot, Oz is quietly shifting his campaign branding away from embrace of Donald Trump." So he quote tweets this with this meme here saying, "New Jersey resident putting on the clown makeup decides to run in PA Senate. desperate for Trump endorsement, scrubbed Trump on own campaign site. So just showing how Dr. Oz is a clown. And another meme here, paying 18 cents more a gallon might be a drop in the bucket for someone as absurdly wealthy as Dr. Oz, but for a single mother with 2 kids making a shitty minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, it really matters. So again, not only, I'll get to the meme in a second, but also just the heart of the issue here when it comes to how low wages are. Again, not an issue that Republicans are addressing. So he tweets it with this meme from Arrested Development, but with Dr. Oz's face, saying, "It's one banana, Pennsylvania. What could it cost? $10? Show you again just how out of touch Dr. Oz is. Now, in terms of, issues he supports, of course, he's been very vocal on a number of issues. And recently, of course, very vocal on reproductive rights. So he tweeted out, "In Pennsylvania and across the country, women's reproductive freedom is under attack. My opponent, Dr. Oz, would be another vote for a nationwide abortion ban. But send me to Washington, and I'd be that 51st vote on the Women's Health Protection Act to codify Roe into law." So again, being very specific. This is what candidates often do not do, is be specific on the actual issues, the actual policies. What would it mean to have you in the Senate? Here is what it would mean. I would be that vote to vote for the Women's Health Protection Act to codify Roe into law. So he is saying specifically what he would do. Again, more lessons here for other Democratic candidates. And he goes on to, so this is a more, an older tweet of his, or from June 20th, but this is essentially, his main platform here. So he says, "What I know to be true, price gouging is immoral. The union way of life is sacred and built this nation. Healthcare is a basic human right. All work has dignity. All paychecks must too. LGBTQIA folks deserve equal protection under law, and immigration makes America America." So he is unabashedly in support of not just, the economic issues here that, of course, are very important, but also is, openly embracing the LGBTQ movement, discussing or embracing immigration. So he is unafraid to actually stand up for what he believes in, and in doing that, understanding as well in terms of the politics of it. So yes, it's the right thing to do, of course, but also in terms of the politics of it, these things are incredibly popular, especially to people that don't normally vote, because they don't normally have candidates like this that are speaking to all of these issues. So you have somebody out here speaking to all of these issues, being specific when it comes to, what a vote for him would mean. And again, all this shows how fantastic of a campaign John Fetterman is running. Now, I want to show you how terrible of a campaign Dr. Oz is running. So this has been a large focus of Dr. Oz, is trying to attach John Fetterman to Bernie Sanders. So back in 2016, Fetterman endorsed Bernie Sanders for president. So here is one of these examples where Oz says, "Friday facts, John Fetterman is a Bernie Sanders socialist who will follow the squad. He is not the right man to lead Pennsylvania." Also kind of notice he's almost trying to adopt the Trump way of speaking with, capitalizing random words like squad, and basically, using the emphasis here on how Bernie is very scary because he's a socialist that is part of the squad. Another example of that, Fetterman is wrong for Pennsylvania. He is an undeniably socialist Democrat that supported AOC, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders. All right. Do I have the video now? Is this the video now? No. One more example. Fact, John Fetterman is a radical liberal who supports Bernie Sanders. That should tell you everything you need to know about what kind of senator he would be. And by the way, if you go and check all the stats on these tweets, he gets ratioed again and again, meaning more replies than there are likes. So people are replying saying Fetterman sounds amazing, the fact that he's like Bernie Sanders. So this is not going to hurt him. And in terms of the popularity of Sanders in Pennsylvania, it's been clear. Sanders' campaign, this is from back in 2019, has long had their candidate polling ahead of Trump, according to data from an internal April 2019 poll obtained by the Daily Beast. The last time the campaign said they tested in Pennsylvania, the senator, Bernie Sanders, was winning in the state by 8 points at 51% to Trump's 43%. I'm not sure attaching Fetterman to Bernie is really the best idea for Dr. Oz if he wants to, win this race. And other polling, this is Emerson polling. Again, this is, I think, back in 2020, showing Trump or Sanders beating Trump by 55 to 45, just as Biden as well in that same poll, beating Trump 55 to 45. So again, showing Sanders popular in Pennsylvania. Now, let's get to this clip. In fact, I want to make sure, yes, this is the clip. So this is what I found while doing a little research on this video. This is from 2019, and I'm just going to play this.
In this country, every single year, 500,000 people go bankrupt because of their medical bills. Now, think of all that people have got to deal with a serious healthcare crisis. You should not have to worry that your family's financial future has been ruined. And that is, in my mind, barbaric.
Dr. Oz giving a platform to scary socialist Bernie Sanders and his scary ideas of universal health care. He even tweeted this video out saying, "Barbaric," quoting Bernie, joins me today to discuss a range of topics, including Americans going bankrupt over medical bills. Now, Oz himself has been in support of universal health care. Now, he is still a capitalist, so as far as I have found, he has not been in support of Medicare for all. But, oh, I want to show you this image. Here they are playing basketball together. Like, this shows you how fake Dr. Oz is, to treat Bernie as this scary individual. Yet, you know the man. You've played basketball with him. You know his ideas are represented in other countries that actually care about their population. But again, he's just playing a character, and this is why you cannot trust him, because he's not going to, Oz is going to change. Let's assume the best of Oz, that he actually cares about people, that he actually wants, universal health care. I'll show you what he advocated for in a second here. But what's he going to do? Oz will fold in 2 seconds. He's going to vote with every other Republican. You saw how he has been around Donald Trump. He had to endorse him, or he had to, campaign with Trump to get his endorsement. He has been even questioning the results of the election, as Trump did, as a way, again, to try and appeal to this base. He will do whatever he thinks he needs to do in order to retain his seat as a Republican senator. And that means being as extreme as possible, as that is what every single Republican now has to do. They have to appeal to this insane, extreme base that lives in some alternate reality in order to retain power. So Oz is going to be that same vote with every other Republican, voting against any help to people, voting against women's reproductive rights, and on and on and on. He has no actual values. Now, in terms of what he has said in the past on healthcare, a review by CNN's K-File of hundreds of Oz's television, radio, print, and social media appearances over more than a decade found that Oz has supported a health insurance mandate for everyone to be in the system, and backed government-provided health care coverage for poor Americans and for minors. Of the healthcare systems he liked most, Oz has cited Germany's and Switzerland's, which utilize mandatory universal systems administered by private companies. So Oz, the capitalist, still sees for-profit healthcare as the way to go. I'm not intimately familiar with Germany and Switzerland's system. I'm sure they worked perfectly fine, but I'm sure they have protections in place to actually, ensure that people are getting the health care that they need. In addition to, of course, they have much stronger unions and higher wages there. So an entire system built around people actually being able to survive. A for-profit healthcare system may work a little better there in terms of the way it's mandated. But Oz, of course, is not fighting for this. He's not fighting for even Germany or Switzerland's healthcare system. No, of course not. Fighting to eliminate any help that people can possibly get. He's not going to be a leader. He's been a follower his entire life. He's just running to where the money is, where the fame is, where the power is. It is so absolutely embarrassing. It's honestly kind of surprising. If you are in Dr. Oz's position with the amount of money that you have, why? Why are you in this race? Why do you need to do this? But again, a lot of it is this attachment to fame, to power, and finding different ways to get that power, get that fame. And that ultimately appears to be what is driving Dr. Oz. Meanwhile, John Fetterman actually fighting for the working class.